I was checking for it too. Maybe have them on there. No, is it on there? Yes. I have something that and I don't know.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, it's like tax season and what's coming up, flying train, and I got it.
Oh, yeah. That's your thing.
Yeah.
Oh. When he say that means he do
That's my only problem. All right. Hello, everyone. Time is 7:02. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Can you please call the roll, please?
Trustee Williams.
Here.
Trustee Sanchez. Trustee Jones. Oh, okay. Trustee Lightford. Trustee Peppers.
Here.
Trustee Brandon.
Here.
Mayor Booker.
Here.
Quorum present.
Former President, let the record reflect that Trustee Sanchez is on a business trip, so he is dialing in tonight instead of actually being here in person.
Did you? Here, I didn't say here. I didn't go back. I'm doing that. I'm here.
Okay. All right. So if we could all please stand. Trustee Williams could have the invocation, and then we can do the pledge of allegiance.
Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this evening. We thank you for your loving kindness, your mercy, and your grace. We thank you for each and every person that's here in the room tonight. Thank you for each and every family that's represented tonight. God, we ask that you, as we move on with this meeting, God, we ask that you move us out of the meeting and insert yourself into it. We ask that your Holy Spirit comfort and guide this meeting. God, we ask that you put us in a place in you where we will not be distracted by our surroundings. But come, Holy Spirit, and enlighten your people. Empower and encourage your people tonight, God. Yes, inspire your people in this meeting tonight, God. Yes, that we may do right, that we may do what is best for the village of Maywood. In Jesus' name we thank you. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I need approval of the minutes from the village board meeting, Board of Trustees, December 5th, 2023.
So moved.
Motion to approve by trustee Sanchez, second by trustee Williams. Will you please call the roll?
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot. Trustee Peppers.
Aye.
Trustee Brandon.
Aye.
Mayor Booker.
Aye. All right, next is oath reports, proclamations, announcements, and appointments. So looking for Director Banks.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Condolences. The Village of Maywood extends condolences and prayers to the families in our community that have experienced a recent loss. Edwin Walker IV, CEO of the Maywood Chamber of Commerce and Vice President of the Maywood Baton Day Organization, passed away this past weekend after a brief illness. His services will be held on this Friday visitation on January 12th from 4 to 7 at St. Innocent's Church in Carroll Springs, and the funeral will be held on Saturday, January 13th at 10 a.m. at the same location. Mr. Robert Hayden Jr., longtime Maywood resident, passed away and was funeralized in December. Stephen Johnson, former Village of Maywood intern and resident, was funeralized in December. And Margaret King, retired Village of Maywood Water Department employee. Congratulations and well wishes to Ms. Irma Powell, 24-year working foreman in the Public Works Department, on her retirement. Last Friday was her last day. Congratulations to Mayor Booker and all of the award recipients for the upcoming Operation Uplift annual Dr. King Gala, which will be held this weekend. Upcoming events, Village Hall will be closed on Monday, January 15th, in observance of the Dr. King Jr. holiday. There's a few events that's happening this month. On Saturday, January 18th, from 6:30 to 8 p.m., Maywood's Gen X and Millennials Business Owners and Entrepreneurs Networking event will be held at Legends Grill and Music Venue. Maywood Senior Citizens Monthly Breakfast on Friday, January 26th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Mary Ella's Banquet Hall in Maywood. And on Saturday, January 27th, Healthy Maywood West Cook Annual Summit will be held at the Maywood Masonic Temple, 200 South 5th Avenue. As a reminder, please visit the village website at www.maywood-il.gov, as well as sign up for My Civic to stay abreast of all current and upcoming village events, as well as to receive any village alerts. And that is the information for this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Banks. All right, for Finance Committee reports, for Finance Report Management, does anyone on the board have any questions for Director Satchel? All right, hearing none, thank you, Director Satchel. Going into Village President's report, I'm going to flip it to move to 9C because the Park District is also a part of 9A. So you all received the information in regards to this. The one piece that we're asking for is consideration is to the village to maintain ownership and take care of and maintain what the village currently owns. So table the transfer discussion until August of 2024, where we can actually take care of what the village owns and see if the Park District can work through their issues and actually do something with what they own. So it's not eliminating the transfer, but it is putting it to a hold. If in turn the Park District, did it hang up? If in turn the Park District does take care of their matters, then August should be a very easy meeting to revisit. If they do not take care of their matters, then it'll be something for us to revisit. But just a motion for the village to maintain control and take care of what we own and manage. I need a motion.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Williams. I need a second.
Second.
Second by trustee Sanchez. If there are no questions, please call the
I
roll.
have a question.
Trustee Jones.
Yeah, I just sent around to the board an email that I received starting the first time on December 19th. It was actually in response to an email that I wrote on December 13th, and then it was again on January 3rd. It's an email from the Maywood Park District's president requesting a meeting with the entire board. The last time that the boards have met at the same time was, I think, a few years ago, about this agreement. I think what we're ultimately trying to do, or what you're open to doing, which I think we need more explanation on, to be honest with you, but I saw somewhere that you wanted to start a Parks and Rec department within the village. I think we need to have some more discussion about that. On the finance side, I think we currently are within a contract where we're looking to transfer the park. So I think if we connect with the park district and let them know our intentions, maybe we can maybe look to improve our partnership with them. I think from what I've kind of seen so far, the unity in the community has left, and so I think we as a board need to step in. I think we should respond. I do not think we should ignore this email. Now, I will say I haven't gone to some of the stuff because I believe my role as a trustee is to be in the right format, in the right environment. I didn't think the town hall, in terms of getting everything out, listening to actual people that can make decisions, that was the right format for me. I also was concerned about potential Open Meetings Act issues, so it wasn't me trying to ignore your situation. I did reach out to the attorney, and he did confirm there could be potential depending how many trustees showed up. So that's why I didn't show up, but I do think, because I know not everyone has access to their village email, so that's why I printed it off. We need to answer to this. We have a contract that so we need to take a step back, if you don't mind. So the reason why we're even in this contract is twofold. One, because of a referendum from 2006, and another was because we were in a position that we said that we did not want to be a Parks and Recs. And that's why we're in this agreement. And so if there's been issues in terms of maybe we expected for things to get done and they're not, I think the mature thing to do, and someone that's managed projects and construction projects before, you got to meet. And I think you've been doing a lot of meetings, this board has not, and I'm not 100% sure what's going on. I hear there's equipment in transit. I hear there's threats of not providing permits unless they decide to go a certain type of way. Some of that is rumors. I don't know what's true. I don't know what's false, but I want to get to the bottom of it. I don't want to just take your word for it. I do not defer to just your assessment of things. We have different viewpoints on it, and so I would like to see it. I'd like for the board to see it. Some of these trustees were not at that meeting, a few years ago. They don't really know what's going on. So my recommendation is that if you want to table it, I don't think we should table it to August and just confirm that we're going to now redevelop our own parks. We need to really think about, that's a whole construction project. I think we need quotes. I think we need assessments from engineers. We need a lot of stuff that I think the partnership might have. I don't want to do duplicate work. This partnership is ours. It's not one person's. I don't actually know what's going on, but I do see our mayor leading what I think to be one of the more obvious reneges I've seen in terms of partnerships. We did defer to him managing it. It obviously hasn't gone well, and so that's my request. Let's not ignore them. It's gotten so bad that I think some trustees are embarrassed to even meet with them. That's what I think. Like, it's gotten so bad that we're actually a little embarrassed because the dynamic is so bad. People just rather terminate. and let's just do it ourselves. We said that we weren't good at Parks and Recs. That's why we went to the Park District, because they were the experts. Now to say, oh, actually, never mind, we actually can do it by ourselves, when that was the complete reason why we went into this, to me, needs to more homework than just us deciding it tonight. We were supposed to have a board retreat. I know I'm part of the reason why we didn't have it. We were supposed to talk about it there. We didn't. And it seems like we're getting, kind of forced to make a decision tonight. That I think we already decided we needed further discussion. So my request of the board, I've already spoken to the mayor. Me and the mayor spoke about this. Just be transparent. I'm not going to go into what we talked about, because hopefully we can have more conversations. But we did speak. We see it differently. I'm asking the board not to ignore this, to get into the game, and understand that this partnership between the Village of Maywood and the Maywood Park District is all of ours, and we have to know what's going on, because we have a current contract that, from when I talked to Attorney Jerusalem, if you don't mind me saying, it seems like it's actually going okay. Like, we were almost, minus a couple, things here and there, we're pretty close to being finished. I mean, we've been trying to do this since 2006. Why are we quitting now? Because of what? I'd like to know. I actually think, especially, I saw in your budget, you want to allocate $600,000 to Parks and Recs. I guarantee we can get this done. Why don't we do it by ourselves? Just have a meeting and say, hey, so we for whatever reason you feel like you want to get it done in 2024, you say, hey, we need to know, where are you at in this phase? Are you in permits? Are you in drawings? Because we need to step in. We're willing to use resources to get it done. You don't just say, F you, I'm going to do it by myself and put all that. I got to build a department, put that on our interim village manager. Like, that's just a lot. That's not fair. That wasn't what we agreed to. I'm going to stop now. I know I'm on the road, but I'm going to stop. That's just my spiel. My recommendation is that we table this until we either have a board discussion about it, or if we feel like we're ready now, which we could have been, because we want to get it over with, let's just pick one of these dates on here. Let's meet with them, and then we can decide what we're going to do. But we should have enough respect to meet with them if their board president is asking, ask the whole board. Like I said, I know some people don't have access to their village email, so they can't respond, so I printed it out. You can't say you can see it. Let's respond to them. Let's have a mature conversation and actually address this partnership that we're right in the middle of. We're almost done. I know it's messy. I get it. Somebody spilled their dirty laundry. I thought that was messed up. People out here quitting and spilling their dirty laundry after they quit. Now, come on, man. So I get it. That's my spiel. I thought that was kind of tacky. That's all.
Okay. A couple of things to unpack there. So one, there's nothing in the request that actually calls to establishing a park and recreation department, but there is a request for us to handle park and recreation, which is already a budget line in the Village of Maywood's budget. The fact that we are not renewing their contract for the 200 building, the fact that we now need to take care of the 1100 South 11th building, the fact that we are assuming responsibility back for Veterans Park, that is essentially park and recreation. So we are handling it from a village perspective, but it's not recreating a brand new department. It's acknowledging that we are managing park and recreation, and that's what this is first for a focus. When you say that that's a lot of purchasing that we have to do, if you recall, trustee, we actually already purchased the park equipment. The problem is we were supposed to purchase the park equipment, and the park district was supposed to install the park equipment. You have only one park out of 6 parks equipment that got purchased that even got ripped out. And you don't have any movement after that. So to say, maybe we could help them. I mean, we purchased the park equipment. The Village of Maywood is the one who got invoiced. The Village of Maywood is the one who wrote the check. The partnership was in 2002 when their executive director and their board president were in this audience highlighting that we were installing parks in 2022. That did not happen, but they gave us 2 presentations in 22 that was going to happen. They came back in 23 and gave another presentation about how even more parks were going to get installed for 2023. We're at 2024. That did not happen. We had a whole community gathering over at Burton Park that they own, in which they said the two buildings, this is back in May of 2023, the two buildings in that park will be torn down within 30 days. Here we are in January of 2024, they're still standing. When you look at their 2021, 2022, and 2023 budget, that's on their website. They don't have anything in their budget that's going to do anything to our 6 parks, nor the 4 that they own. So here we are looking at the parks that they've owned for the same time that we've owned ours. Nothing has been done to them. So when you say, well, it's not fair, it's not right, it's not fair and it's not right for them to come and present to us for 2 years, 4 different times, of not one single thing in their entire presentation that happened. The other part is when you're saying we're just abandoning it. Trustee, I'm not saying that we're abandoning it, which is why I say let's hold it until August. Because let's also be the reality of the reality. It wasn't just their employees that quit that sound the whistle. It was their current active employees that had payroll bounced twice. It was their current active employees that had to acknowledge that their health insurance had not been paid for over 10 months. You all have been to their board meetings because you talked to Don at their board meeting.
I did.
Right.
And I said I was going to bring this up.
Has been to their board meetings. So here's the reality.
We can't bring it to question.
But
Why can't we bring it to question?
But what
if
I'm
we
saying
don't
is,
agree with
what
it?
I'm saying
Why
is,
do we
trustee,
have to follow what you want to do?
because I'm asking, again, you see how I didn't interrupt you?
I'm just following up like you.
What I'm saying is, you
already
went,
on the town hall
again,
for this.
trustee, you went. I didn't say a word. I just asked you the same courtesy.
Okay, go ahead.
Right?
Thank you.
So the reality is, when you say we're reneging, no, we're literally saying they acknowledged at their board meeting that they only have $308 in the bank account. We didn't do that. That came out of their executive director's mouth, right? So when we sit there and say we're going to have a meeting with them, for them to what? Give us another 3rd year in a row presentation of something that potentially will not happen yet again? The reality is, all we're saying is, the Maywood Park District, the Village of Maywood bought the parks. The equipment is sitting in storage that was supposed to get installed. We will take care of that. Maywood Park District, please take care of what you want, because it becomes a certain point in time where it's like actions have to speak louder than words. That's why I don't need another meeting with them. If they can get their parks done, if they can get actual programming at their building, then let them show that, and when we come back in August, it should be an easy conversation to be had, right? But at least at that point, if we are transferring, then guess what? They're getting newer parks, and the village and the residents had a whole summer of at least 6 parks to be able to play in. So when you say it's not fair to staff, already had meetings with staff. Already had meetings with our assistant village manager, who is a former executive director of Park District. So at the end of the day, it's like you act like some burden that's been discussed hasn't been discussed with them. You act as though you haven't been to the Park District board meeting and witnessed the chaos and witnessed we're on our 4th new auditor in 3 years. You know this because you've been to their meetings. So I don't want to sit here and play this game like we're going to come to a meeting of the 2 board members and hear something different that they've not shown to be true in the last 2 years of presenting to us here at this village dais.
I have a solution.
So the solution is allow them to take care of their
I
home.
want to offer a solution.
We take care of ours.
Like, I just don't want to decide on your solution. I want to offer a solution. Now, go ahead.
Trustee Brandon.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody. So, we have all heard of the state of affairs over at the Park District. And it appears that the entire community, as well as this board, has been misled, misinformed on what the current financial state of affairs of the Park District were, especially as it relates to managing our facilities. So I recently, in November, attended their meeting where the Board of Commissioners approved a loan that they had received in the amount of about $170,000 due to the fact that their tax revenue was delayed. which it appears has caused budgetary issues within the park district. It also appears, based on what we have heard from different sources, Mayor, and even the meetings that you have hosted, that there's some potential budgetary management issues as well. And so I am under the understanding that the Maywood Park District, and this is where it just baffles me a little bit, because I heard a lot about this in 2024 and then even prior to that, Mayor, and even from you, in regards to all of these grants that the Park District had received and was receiving, and they were going to come and fix all of the issues as it relates to the park. But so just in some additional research that I've done, so the Park District received a grant from Game Time and the Illinois Parks Association to purchase equipment for the parks, utilizing funds that they had received from the Village of Maywood in the tune of somewhere around a little over $100,000, based on the agreement that we had set. And so part of my question, I'm going to pause there for a second, is based on the agreement of our up to $100,000 for each phase of this transfer, how is it going to work in regards to the purchases that they already made, in regards to the equipment, and then for this grant that they have received from Game Time USA and the Illinois Park District Association, which allowed for them to purchase additional equipment to go into additional parks. So that entire area is very cloudy of how that's going to work. And then I'm going to lean on Jerusalem to figure out I guess, legal ramifications of us trying to get this equipment back from the Park District that was a part of an agreement that this board approved based on strong recommendation from you, Mayor, as well as from the Park District as it relates to their capacity to be able to install this equipment. I'm also under the impression that the amount that is going to take to install the equipment is going to be about $150,000, which I am being told from sources over at the Park District that they have the funds were delayed, and that they could basically manage the parks that they were set to be transferred over to them. And so, just to wrap this whole deal up, we're food, bamboozled, all of that, based on Mayor, what you're the leading voice behind this, and now we find ourselves in this conundrum, not really having any facts, a lot of hearsay. This board has not come back to the table with the Park District to have a conversation, to really dive deep and see what the current state of their affairs, and if they needed more time, if their financial situation or taxes were delayed from the county or the state or whomever. We really don't have a grasp on this. And I think for me, what I find to be the hugest problem, and even for me with some of my board colleagues, so that we all were elected to be all in on behalf of the village of Maywood. But it appears that some of us have been unplugged, have aborted our duties to be fully involved in these conversations, and we leave it up to one particular elected official, and we give it to these jams, and then it's brought back to us after chaos and confusion is created. And so for me, I would like to, I have a few recommendations, and I would like to suggest the following things in order to move forward with clarity. The first thing is we need to have a follow-up meeting with the Maywood Park District at the table where we have an open conversation in front of the citizens of Maywood so that everybody's involved in the conversation, so we can track what is being said, who's saying what. The second phase of that is to identify members from both governing bodies to establish an oversight committee to oversee the implementation of this entire process and not leave it up to one particular elected official, which has proven to me to be a situation, because we've been in situations time and time again, where we leave it up to one individual to lead when we all was elected to lead, because that's what the voters elected us to do. And so, I believe that the voters were very clear in regards to what they wanted to see. And Mayor, you were a strong advocate for the transfer of the parks. My thing is this: we need to stay on track as it relates to the transferring of those parks, specifically phase one. And I have been advocating, and so for me, that's why I guess I get really, really frustrated, because I've been very vocal as it relates to the transferring of the parks, and communicating here from this dais of what's happening with the transfer. So one issue, just to kind of help you guys refresh your memories, there was an easement issue or something to that nature, and Mike, you can correct me on the language as it relates to that, with Connor Heights Park about some parcels, and that was holding the process up back in, I want to say, June or July of 2023. And so there's been a whole lot of things happening, and a whole lot of conversation, but there hasn't been really clear conversation happening from this dais. And all of these conversations have been happening with one or two individuals, and everybody else is left in the dark. And we find ourselves in this situation trying to figure out what's going on, what's happening, and we don't find out until it's a storm. And so I believe that, and I'm going to charge and challenge, because that's what we are here to do, my colleagues, to be involved in this conversation. Let's do the right thing. The village of Maywood should not be going back into full-time and recreational businesses as it relates to those properties that were mentioned. Veterans Memorial Park. The park district was really never going to get that park. Our buildings, as it relates to the 200 building, as it relates to the old ceasefire building, 1100 building, they was never going to obtain that property as well. I'm on board as it relates to enhancing those properties that we own, like the 200 building, like the 1100 building, even this park and that pool. Just stay parked on the pool for a second. And Jim knows, and I might have to involve Jim in this conversation as well, because he is the village manager, and we talked about this because it was part of the budget for the 2023-2024 fiscal year budget, as it relates to the conditions of the pool. And we had meetings on this, and I brought this to the attention of Jim, and Jim informed me that he was going to have someone to come out to look at the conditions of it, provide us with a report on the real status of it. That hasn't happened, because we were leaving everything up to the Maywood Park District. They was going to plant trees. They were going to get the pool up and running. They was going to do all of these great things until the storm was created. So again, my recommendations would be to for us collectively in front of the public, so the public can hold all of us accountable, both the Park District Commissioners who are elected and both members of this board accountable as well, to what we say we were going to do, so they can help see us get there. And so have that meeting, sit down with the Maywood Park District, establish an executive committee to help oversee the implementation of making sure that those parks receive the attention that it needs. And so again, I just challenge my colleagues to be more involved and engaged in 2024 in the conversation, and don't just leave it up to one or two elected officials to be leading such a conversation, when it really requires all of our time and all of our energy and all of our attention. Thank you.
All right,
Mayor.
Thank you, trustee. So, one, I would say even at the community town hall that you were at last week, you talked about being misled with their financials, but you also said at the meeting that somebody in the Maywood Park District needs to go to jail. So you can't say that we need to sit down and have a meeting with somebody on this dais who's misled you and misrepresented what they were able to do for 2 years in a row, and then say things go to jail in one meeting and say you want to sit down and meet with them in another. So I was, again, they still need to go to jail, but you still are interested in transfer. That's crazy. Okay, so let's get back to the reality. One, you said that they received $170,000. Okay, they got their taxes late like everybody else did, but here's the reality. I'm going by their website, not its mayor being involved. I don't do their finances, right? Their website says they have a $3.1 million budget. So if we're talking about $170,000 out of $3.1 million budget, why couldn't they pull the parks out and install them without that $170,000? So I think that there's a bigger issue going on within the Maywood Park District that, again, I'm not telling them or trying to tell them how to lead what they own. I'm saying, can the village of Maywood manage what we own? Can we take care of what we own? And guess what? If we end up in the future transferring it to the Maywood Park District, they're all the better for it because at least it's then done. But the reality is, I'm not going to stay stuck on an agreement that happened in February, March of 2021, when here we are with January of 2024 without so much as one bench fixed in 10 parks for the 3 years of this agreement. That's where I'm talking about. When you talk about they got a grant, trustee, Playtime does the 50% off end of season grant, which is an application that the village of Maywood could have done, but because the Maywood Park District had the management agreement of everything, they filled out the paperwork that's literally an application. They did not pay the money. The actual money that got paid was an invoice given to the village of Maywood. The village of Maywood did not write a check to the Maywood Park District. We gave a check directly to the vendor. The equipment is in storage with the vendor. So it's not like we have to go through this whole process of saying, we're going down to your basement to take our stuff back. The grant with the vendor was an application. We paid, not the park district. We paid them directly, and the equipment directly is sitting in their storage facilities. That was supposed to be installed this summer, but was not. When you say you want to sit down with the park district, guys, here's the reality. 3 out of 5 of their commissioners have resigned. So who exactly are you sitting down with?
I hear that.
Okay, they're appointing people today, and I'm gonna get to that. So they might be appointing people today because they only have 2 interviews and there's 2 slots. So because it's on their agenda. I read. I don't tell you. So also at the end of the day, you went to the Park District Town Hall and you're on video asking them questions that they could not answer. You went to their board meetings looking for answers to questions that they could not answer. You went to the town hall last week saying that they needed to go to jail. Here's the part. I'm literally just saying we need to take care of what we own. So when you say you're for taking back Veterans Park, you're for taking back the 200 building, you're for taking back the 1100 building, they were never going to own them. I agree with you, Trustee, they were never going to own them, but you did cancel and choose not to renew the management agreement. Therefore, you already have taken things because of their mismanagement of it. So I don't really know where you guys are coming at when you say we want to have a meeting and discuss what their path forward is, because they still have not explained their budget. They've already discussed at their board meetings that they're going through an auditing season. It's not saying that they're having a planning session. It's not saying that they're doing a strategic thing. They're literally having audits on the last 5 years of their board. Because, again, they don't even have the last 5 years of their audits on file with the state. So I just feel like, one, when we talk about the pool, Trustee, we all did get a list of all the issues with the pool. It was all discussed that it would be like over $1 million if everything really got fixed. Even then, the management of the swimming operations, so we got Proviso East to agree and say, you all can use Proviso East as a community pool. 2022, the Park District was supposed to run that program. Never happened. 2023, they only did a couple of days at the pool for their summer program with their kids and a couple of days of our kids who were at the 200 building. It was not a community pool. So even there goes. Again, I'm simply saying, allow their actions to speak louder than their words on what they own and allow us to handle what we own. If at a certain point in time that their actions have spoken louder than their words, that they've presented to this board multiple times that have not bear fruit, then we can readdress we can reopen the conversation. I'm not saying rip up the agreement. I'm saying put it on hold so we can handle with what we own, like any person who genuinely cares about what this summer will look like for our youth should. You guys are talking about meetings, setting up committees. Maybe you should have done that back in October when this first got all brought to light. We are in budget season. So at the end of the day, staff needs direction, legal needs direction, our budget needs direction.
Can you answer my question?
So February would be budget conversations, March will be the budget conversations, and April will be budget approval. The stuff that the assistant village manager and whomever else is helping on the team of getting the parks ready would have to start planning now. Mulch would have to get started now. Things would have to get started, ordered now. So this whole thing that you guys want to drag out, we also have to think about the time limit of back order of items, things that need to be purchased to actually get something done. So I'm just trying to get something done for the residents. Blame who you want to blame on unanimous votes that took place. I'm not here for the blame game. I'm literally saying, let's take care of what we own.
Mayor.
Trustee Brady.
Well, I know you're not here for the blame game, but part of it is take responsibility as well, because you were leading the
No,
conversation.
I did say unanimous vote.
And so
then I would approach it.
if Mike can answer my question, Mike, so I'm gonna repeat my question for you in regards to the equipment that was purchased under the agreement that we had with the Park District. What happens to that agreement since, to my understanding, funds, this is part of a grant program that came through the Illinois Parks Association, which I am under the impression that only Park District entity could have applied for such funding. What happened with the equipment that we purchased in regards to the Park District? Who owns that equipment? Does the Village of Maywood own that equipment? Or do the Maywood Park District own that equipment? We may have paid for it, but it was based on an agreement that we were going to transfer those parks over to the Maywood Park District. Can you answer that question for me?
The residents of Maywood own the equipment. Attorney Jerusalem.
I can't without looking at the agreement, but I know our IGA says we were going to provide them with funding.
Yes.
And it
Up
doesn't
to
say
$100,000.
Yeah, beyond that, if they used our money to buy it, they're the owner. But without looking at the agreement, I can't tell you.
So
Again, for point of clarity, we
never
never gave money to the Maywood Park District.
So they own
The invoice was, let's be clear. Correction, correction, trustee. Correction, I just want point of clarity, right? Here's the point of clarity.
We confused too.
Be respectful.
Can we just do a point of clarity? Trustee Jones, you said, but they own the parks. No, they don't. We own the
I
parks.
said equipment.
They do not own the equipment.
They own the equipment.
Okay, so here's the reality.
Jerusalem.
The actual invoice and W-9 and payment process was for the Village of Maywood. It was not for the Maywood Park District. The Maywood Park District got the W-9 and invoice for the vendor after the invoice even changed from saying Maywood Park District. Because it says Village of Maywood. That's the only way the vendor could have gotten paid, by the Village of Maywood. Again, the equipment is sitting with the vendor, not with the Maywood Park District.
I haven't seen any of these documents, so, I
I
can't tell you.
And I know you want to be involved, because it's chaotic as well, but if you could just repeat what you just stated.
I haven't seen
to
the
board.
documents, so I can't tell you who owns it, but it sounds like We paid the park district money.
We did not.
And now Booker is saying we did, so.
See, so, okay, right, let's park
Let's park it real quick.
Let's park right
Director
there.
Satchel.
So now,
Let's
park. So
Trustee,
this is the key point.
Trustee
So we're
Brandon.
talking about.
Real
the
question,
attorney-
Trustee
the attorney
Brandon,
said-
can you please stop?
No, let me
Can you
finish.
please stop? I'm just, real quick. Director
Okay.
Satchel.
You'll get called.
Because I'm done with this game.
No, it's not.
Was the check written to the Maywood Park District, or was it written to game time?
It was with the game time,
So
but
that doesn't-
based on the agreement for the Maywood Park District, that the Maywood Park District here with the Village of Maywood, and the
Trustee.
rules just said. So we can tiptoe, we can tap dance, we can do all these dances that
The
we
Park
want to do.
District
The
is,
Ding-dang, the Dougie.
Trustee,
Bottom line
here's the
is-
reality. No, here's the bottom line.
And you led the
Listen.
conversation in regards to, oh, they got this grant, and you, the reason why I get so frustrated is you pushed this conversation that the park district can receive these grants, and we needed to move on what that agreement had stated, that we were going to spend up to what that dollar amount was to purchase that equipment. The park district then used those monies to order that equipment. The paperwork was turned into the finance department. The process, based on what the process that we put in place of how we were going to make payments on behalf of the park district, based upon the agreement that we had set forth with the Maywood Park District. So going back to the equipment, that was based on the agreement that we had with the Maywood Park District, that we would spend up to $100,000 in each phase. So the funding that was spent on the equipment was part of the agreement that we had with the Maywood Park District, which was $200,000, collectively $100,000 in the first phase, and then another $100,000 in the second phase. And so if anybody's been a part of these conversations, they would know what the truth is, and we will be operating under the umbrella of the truth this evening as it relates to who owns the equipment. So the equipment is owned by the Maywood Park District, not the village. The village purchased the equipment for the Park District based on an agreement that we set forth collectively as a board, based on direction from our mayor, based on all of the information that they came before this board to present. They purchased it under the umbrella, under the contract that they had set forth with the village. So they own that equipment. It's not we purchased it, but we purchased it based on that contract that they had, and they submitted receipts to the finance department because that's a process we have in place. We wasn't just going to give them a $200,000 check or a $100,000 check. It was submit your receipts to the village of Maywood, and then we would then move forward as a village to make sure we had some systems in place to be able to work off of, and some structure as well. And so we find ourselves again in this conundrum. They own and it's kind of funny to say at the same time, because if we just take us back, you led this conversation, and now you just trying to dance and
Trustee,
out of the whole situation. But listen, Maywood, be involved, be aware, be alert.
So trustee, just for a real point of clarity, you have your laptop up. Go to the board books. The motion that we made was to pay game time directly for the purchase of playground equipment with freight charge and application of statewide initiative funding credit. So if you look, it literally on the invoice just said 50% off. Because that was the grant, because it was end of season purchasing. So it was literally an application. They gave 50% off purchasing the equipment. But literally, we purchased the equipment for $49,300. That was a total of $99,780 after you add in the freight, based on a statewide initiative funding credit. That is what happened. So at the end of the day, the village of Maywood knows exactly, we know the company that the equipment is with. The equipment can be installed. We can get the parks pulled out. We can get the parks installed. if the Maywood Park District handles what they own, we will then revisit in August, based on the current motion at hand, of transferring. At this point in time, guys, I don't even know why you are arguing this.
We're gonna be sued, that's why, and then the public will be looking at this board, like what happened, when did it happen, who did it happen with? Because the equipment belongs to them, and all I'm saying is this.
The equipment belongs to, per what we read, the motion, again, trustee, I go back to your motion, the paperwork's in the board packet. If you go back into the board packet, actually, we paid for it. The village of Maywood paid for it.
Wasn't it a matching grant? Wasn't it a match? Did they also put up?
It was a statewide initiative fund. They put no money into this, guys.
I thought they paid games.
No, they filled out an application that gave a 50% discount because it was in the season. They did not put money into this.
Okay, so they filled out the application and we paid for it.
Yes. The village of Maywood owns it. We literally purchased it. Here's the part. If you want to go debatable, literally, what we agreed to purchase. No, here we go. If you go back to the board packet, we purchased the park equipment specifically for Lexington Park, Baton Park, Conner Heights Park, Top Lot. That is what the equipment was purchased for.
Yep, you're right.
So we cannot sit there and say,
They own parks.
who's going to do it? They do not own the parks. These are specific parks that we
They
own.
own the park equipment, Mayor.
Trustee.
I don't know if you recall, but I recall I haven't missed a board meeting since I've been on the board. But you helped spearhead that conversation, and you told me specifically in this room, that they received a grant, and they're going to be able to get additional equipment, and so the funds that they received, from my understanding, the funds that they received
From who?
From Playtime and Illinois Parks Association, actually they were able to double the amount of equipment that they were able to get.
Trustee.
Based on let me finish. Based on those the grant that they received from the Illinois Parks Association and Game Time. And so again, Mayor, you stated this because you told me directly.
Because they said that they would be able to handle the parks and the installation.
So,
here's the real
Wait,
catch, trustee. If they
finish.
had money, the parks would have been ripped out, and the parks would have been installed back now. That's a simple thing. If they had money to do it, the parks would have been ripped out, and the parks would have been installed, versus still sitting in storage. It's really
All
that
I'm saying is
simple,
the board
trustee.
needs to investigate who owns the equipment, because what's going to happen is this. Let me predict something real fast for you. What's going to happen is if we do not abide by the contract, which gave them the authority to purchase that equipment. We agreed on it as a board. I don't know if anybody else remember, or if everybody else mind are cloudy.
The contract that purchased the equipment is to the village of Maywood.
So
that's why the payment was made
So
from the
if,
village of Maywood.
if we're back in these chambers dealing with any legal ramifications,
I'm sure you have nothing but love to say.
Mayor.
Trustee Williams.
So our original motion was to, and there's nothing in the motion that says we're getting ready to abort an agreement with the park district that we have of turning over the parks that the village owns or that the village manages to the park district. I would like to move on the motion that we had, but I do have to agree with my colleagues. There need to be meetings that should be had with the Maywood Park District. But while we're going through those meetings, the residents of Maywood cannot afford to go through another summer, because they've already spoken of not having any parks for our youth to play in, not having any leisure activities for our seniors and young adults to be a part of. So I don't think that we can continue. We can sit up here and argue all day. Well, you guys can sit up here and argue all day, because the rest of us are not arguing. I don't think that we should be in the business of going back and forth when it's already January. Summer will be here soon, and we'll be going into another summer of no activities. Yes, I believe that we should meet with the park district. I wouldn't mind meeting with them every month to see the progress of their parks, to see the progress of the stuff that we manage, and to see how we can make a smooth transition. But as for tonight, I would like to have a vote on the motion that the Village of Maywood take over the management of the parks that we own, and the park district continue to manage their parks and to get their stuff together. And going forward, we will have regular meetings to try to hash this all out.
Mayor.
I don't have any issue with that. Trustee, you've been called on twice.
Can we please call a roll?
If you gotta clarify, because you also asked to table the agreement until August. I mean, you said to.
So let's be
Mayor.
He said, what was said was.
Why can you allow an elected official to answer on their own? You speak for everybody. Let them
Mayor. Mayor,
It was very clear.
the mayor already said that we can revisit this in August. I'm listening to what Trustee Brandon said. He wants to form a committee that will work on this, and they can work on this on a monthly, and then we can get back to the table in August and say, this is what we found out, this is what we have to do, and this is what's going to get this done. Now, there's lots of dates of meetings up here. I mean, we can meet tomorrow, but as of today, we're going to say that the Village of Maywood is taking over management of their parks, allow the park district to manage their parks. Let's get them up and running. Let's get some going this summer, and then we'll revisit this conversation. Mayor, can we please have a vote on the motion?
Please call the roll.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez. Aye. Trustee Jones.
No.
Trustee Lightfoot.
Aye.
Trustee Peppers.
No.
Trustee Brandon.
Don't know who own the equipment. Absolutely not.
Mayor Booker.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right. So now on the agenda we're going to go back to A, which is the status report regarding presentation of proposed budget for the use of American Rescue Plan Act funding. So there was a presentation sent to all the board members a week ahead before board packets came out. It is detailed different information of different stuff going towards the ARPA. If there are no questions, I need a motion to
I have a
approve.
question.
Trustee Jones.
Wait, no, he wants to move forward with adopting a budget for ARPA. We've already done that. He's trying to amend the budget, and we've already done that, and it needs to go back to the Finance Committee. We've already done that. You've already voted on it. It needs to go back to committee. You do not get to act like this did not get adopted.
It's not true. We literally sent the email saying people to change this to action.
Right, no, you can't try that one. No.
Because it was consideration. It was the update and consideration.
No, it's going to do that.
You're right.
Wait, can I finish my comment? So, because,
Okay.
no, go ahead. Actually, no, go ahead, Mayor. Sorry.
So here's where I'm at with this question, because it was literally sent to the clerk's office that this was something that's supposed to be voted on. So I'm trying to understand what happened.
From the last meeting.
The email that was
meeting
sent.
with the finance, they did request to have it placed on the board book for December 5th.
Right, but what I'm saying is, when we got the agenda, the only two things that were corrected on the agenda for me was to say, this is a report, and actually having it voted on.
Absolutely.
So by it worded differently.
We just worded the way that it was sent to us from.
Right, but when you sent out the agenda, there was a change made to the agenda. You acknowledge receipt.
This is not a conversation we should have right here.
So here's what I'm
As your employee,
okay, well, what I'm
like,
trying to
please don't chat.
So here, for point of clarity, what I'm trying to understand is, there are items within ARPA funding that literally have to do with the building right across the street that has programming taking place where the building is supposed to open back up in January. Funding that's in here would come out of that. So I'm trying to understand, because the board packet seemingly did not get updated the way that it was requested, I'm trying to understand, honestly, this is a legal question. Because if there's supposed to be youth back in that building as of January 16th, and we actually don't give a consensus to spend money, or if we don't do a vote to spend money, how do we open that building?
It's listed as a presentation, not as an action item. We'll have to discuss it tonight. If there are things that you all agree on, let's have a special board meeting, put it on as an action item.
We have a finance committee meeting.
Line items.
Attorney, I thought I was recognized when I had the floor, because it was a motion. You tried to do a motion that you actually didn't put on the agenda. I said, hold on.
I did put it on the agenda, the clerk's office did.
Hey man, I'm talking about what I see on paper, not what you try
I'm
to
just
do.
being clear. So,
I'm just saying.
I mean, at this point, All right.
Open as an action item.
so, I mean,
That's the way to spend it.
because we gotta do, I mean, we can't do this stuff now. So, all right. You guys have the 157-page document. You guys have the budget request. Again, there are items for purchase, actually on the agenda, on the packet. So you have squad cars that need to get purchased now, because there's quotes of stuff now. You have work that needs to get done now in regards to programming. You have work that needs to get done in regards to staffing a building that was paid for by a grant that runs out this month. So the building can't reopen without approving some of these things. So we can do another special board meeting just to approve it next week, or can we do a straw poll? Like,
No.
No, I don't think actually.
I'm just asking.
It should be listed as an action item. I would get your consensus tonight
Yeah.
as to what you're in favor of.
Okay.
And then have a special board meeting and put
To
it
get
on.
that approved. So then we'll do a poll to everybody. I guess it's
We're
some
gonna wait till
time
August
next
to
week.
do this. We're gonna wait till August to meet with them, but then we're gonna have a special board meeting to keep accommodating this one person.
No, trustee.
I'm actually offended by that.
Trustee,
I'm actually
that's-
offended.
Trustee,
I'm
let's
actually
be
really
real
offended by
clear.
that.
The item was actually emailed and asked to have as a voting action item
I've
tonight.
done that plenty of
Okay,
times.
it's not
I've done that
on the
plenty of times. It
agenda.
happens.
So,
But-
okay, trustee, here's the part. You can't be offended by saying it happens, right?
Okay.
It happened.
All right.
We're trying to rectify it. So in rectifying it, let's have the discussion, and then either way, we can still have the special board meeting to approve it.
Okay.
I mean, here's the reality. Yeah, it happened. I'm just trying to figure out what happened, but that's for the clerk's office to figure out. But either way, ARPA funds are here. Funds to get things going are here. Is there any discussion that would stop? Because realistically, I would
Yes.
actually want to call a special board meeting at some point in time next week specifically for this, to get this approved. Because again, we cannot get the building open without approving some of these items. So we voted to take the building back over, we kind of got to act on it. So here we
That's why
are.
we need to discuss what's going on.
Trustee.
Moving too fast.
Trustee, it's not moving too fast. You've had this, first off, you've had this information for over a week now. We had an hour and a half conversation in my office on Friday. You've sent 4 different emails about this, so let's not act like this is a rush.
I have a
right?
question. I have a question
I'm
about your.
literally opening up, it's for discussion. So what is your
So
question?
here's discussion. The discussion is that I believe the recommendation needs to be that it goes to the finance committee, because here's how the budget works. And Mayor, you have to actually learn how your own budget works. So what happens is the finance committee makes a recommendation and then you voted on it. Within that recommendation you voted on, which I gave you proof of, you actually voted on the ARPA allocation already. You voted yes to it. Actually, the votes were, actually go here. The votes were I remember Trustee Brandon, a motion, I seconded, you were yes. Trustee Reyes Plummer was yes, Jones was yes, Lightford was yes, Peppers was yes, Brandon was yes. Yes, Trustee Sanchez was actually absent. You approved this. Lanye actually presented this. We talked about how we wanted to do the breakdown. You had no comments. The issue is that you feel like, oh, since I'm the mayor, I can come in and amend anything, and I'm going to demand that they do it now because I'm going to put this rush on them. When actually you have to utilize your own finance committee. You give them a recommendation, right? So you send what you sent. with some quotes and some other stuff. You send that to the finance committee, the committee that you established, and then what I'll do, me and Trustee Sanchez will review it, and we'll say whether or not we adopt which really is an amendment. We already decided. We've already done this. Now we're in the paperwork for this. So you approved it. I don't know why you're acting like this. I almost think you tried to, what I think was happening, and this is why it needs to come back to my committee, Attorney Jerusalem, because these numbers are the numbers. The numbers that what he presented in that agenda was not what we approved. I'm gonna just keep it just like that. This is what you said yes to, and then what you put in the agenda now.
Trustee.
It either you have to show that you want to amend. This is a legal document. You either have to show that you want to amend this. You cannot. I'm gonna use the word. You cannot fraudulently suggest that what you inserted into the thing is actually. This is not the first time we've discussed this. This is you're looking to amend this. You're looking to change this. In order to do that, you have to do this. You said yes to this already. You approved it, and it was already approved. So that's the process. Don't disrespect your own committees. Just don't disrespect the work that we put in, and don't disrespect the people's vote. The board already voted on it. Now you're going to act like you didn't. There are people. I put this Chamber of Commerce on here. The Maywood Chamber of Commerce, which you approved already, was looking forward to it. I have copies of this letter. They were looking forward to working with the village in terms of sections, in terms of the agreement. You also, in your agreement, do not talk about the allowable uses. You have to identify the allowable uses in this. You have to get to know what ARPA is. You just can't sloppily put this together. You did not call out, is it public health? Is it negative economic impacts? You just can't just say something all willy-nilly. It has to be broken down, but this is how it has to be an allowable use. You just can't, it's just not, oh, we're going to do cop cars, we're going to do this. That's fine. You have to, it's actually a process that we went through it, and that's why we were prepared, and that's why we submitted, and now we're executing on this. We were supposed to talk about this again at the retreat. So if you want to talk about it, what you need to do is the proper recommendation, according to how I think this works, is that you send it back to your finance committee, and then what we'll do is that we'll give you a recommendation on what the amendment is to this. That's how the process works. You can't suggest that this hasn't been brought up. You approved this. This was in the documents like they presented it in the budget for the 2023-2024. If we're going to approve something else and act like this did not exist, Attorney Jerusalem, you're going to have some issues.
So trustee.
You're going to have some issues if we act like this didn't exist, that we did not approve this, and then we act like the thing that he gets to do because of some of this emergency stuff. Well, you better bring us into your emergency. So what you need to do is touch base with me, and then we'll see what we can do. But you don't get to overstep.
Trustee.
And if we are, Attorney Jerusalem, mark my words, we're going to have problems. If we act like this doesn't exist and that he didn't approve it, and we didn't approve it on March 14th, 2023, by all these board members, including him, he just can't change his mind all willy-nilly. You can't do that. Just say, oh, well, I got the votes. Stop manipulating that. Like that's bogus. You do that a lot, man. Like, stop putting these people in this position to make them have to vote for you. They're not, come on, there's a process to this. So that's my comments. This is the real document, not what you put in there. That one has not been seen. Like, Ye said she didn't see it. Jim didn't see it.
Trustee. Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Please do not lie on me. That's all. I asked you done. Don't lie on me.
Okay.
First off, understanding what the eligible use was presented at the time the budget was presented. Understanding that you were giving these as recommendations. At the time, we said we were going to put the money in an interest-bearing account to collect interest. I've always, and I've consistently said, when you say $250,000, which, by the way, again, we had a whole hour-and-a-half meeting on Friday. You emailed me this yesterday. There's no, but I didn't though.
Yes, you
this
did.
is what, trustee. I'm not going to go.
Yay.
I would
Am I making
appreciate.
this up?
Trustee,
did you present this in March of?
Yes, it was presented at the time of budget of recognition. We did not agree to this stuff.
Yes, we did.
Trustee, we did not. We agreed to the budget of the Village of Maywood. This was a presentation to your first slide of eligible uses of saying what it can be done on. We did not ratify, clearly vote on expenses. We have not done this. So when you sit there and you say $250,000 to the Maywood Chamber of Commerce, the Maywood Chamber of Commerce information on their website is from 2019. There is in no way that I would have voted to give $250,000 to the Maywood Chamber of Commerce. Accepting this as an eligible use and to accept this as your expenses, okay. But to actually ratify saying we're going to do this, no, I didn't vote on that. You're saying Maywood Masonic Temple, $200,000. We already have 3 different partners going out for different fundings and 3 different sources from state and county that staff is working with on that. Fire station, we already did work to it this year. Housing Forward has received over $1 million of ARPA funding for mental health and health services. So is Way Back In, so is PLCCA. The Quinn Center has a Transforming Maywood right now. Why would we give them $50,000? Same thing when it comes to the substance abuse. Cook County gave over $1 million to these same entities in regards to mental health and substance abuse. So it's like when you're looking at this stuff, historic preservation, you want to give $250,000 to the Fred Hampton Historic Landmark. Historic Landmark was awarded $250,000 from the state already. So why would we give them another $250,000? Historic Preservation Committee, we've already agreed that the historic district would be from Washington to Lake Street, and they're already working on that as a project. So why would they need $250,000? Trustee, at the end of the day, this was presented as eligible use. This was presented as discussion. We moved everything into an interest-bearing account and didn't move on any of these expenses. So even for you to say, or try to say, we voted on this, but I haven't made sure a dime of it got spent in a year. We didn't vote on this. So please do not mislead the public to say that we voted on this. And the other thing that gets me is, again, when you say you actually want to have a better relationship, better conversations. Trustee, did you bring this to the, I know you don't care. It's all, like you said, it's
why should I bring it? We already seen it. You already approved it. You just did.
You said this because it was yesterday.
No,
it was presented as eligible use. Not what we were going to.
It's part of the packet. It's in the packet.
Trustee, I agree. It was eligible uses.
And a breakdown of it. Because of
Trustee,
and the reason why is because by 2024 you have to obligate this. You have to legally
Trustee,
obligate.
did we obligate any of this? We
yes.
did.
No,
we did not.
Yes, we have. We said we were obligating.
This was not obligated. This was not obligated.
So what do you think?
Like realistically, I can go through this list and say from ARPA funding what other agencies have received. If we were going to write checks to other agencies, I would have said, Trustee, why not open it up to...
You said yes to it. I brought the proof.
Trustee, I said yes to understanding we were approving a budget in March. I said yes to understanding these are eligible uses. I did not obligate the Village of Maywood to any of this.
The board did. The board did.
No, you're saying I voted for it. I did not vote for this. I voted to accept. This was an eligible use because it's slide 1, eligible use. Slide 2, understanding this is what you would like to spend it on. Eligible use.
So what are you doing right now? What are you trying to do right now?
I was actually trying to get voting action to spend the money.
So he's trying to jump over us. Exactly. You have no respect to even, you know that exists. You have a finance committee chair. Why would you even try to pull that? Like,
no, it's not about trying to. So here we go. Trustee, again, let me finish talking, then I'll acknowledge you. But here's the reality. Trustee, this was supposed to be discussed during the board retreat that you yourself said you were part of the reason it got canceled. I didn't cancel it. You all said you weren't going to make it, you had to work. Even though we had scheduled the board retreat over a month out. Well, they had to do things because the 2 people at the board retreat, like, you scheduled yourself to work, Trustee Brandon, even though we scheduled ourselves a month out for this board retreat. You didn't say, did you tell your boss you had a board retreat?
I scheduled myself to work.
Again, you didn't say anything about you not being able to make the board retreat until 24 hours before the board retreat. You knew that the board retreat was happening over a month before the board retreat was happening. So you had a schedule, you knew the board retreat was happening, you've received several emails, we mentioned it in the board meetings, and then 24 hours before the board retreat, you said you had to work. So let's keep it above. Trustees Jones, trustee,
You
I'm not-
brought
I'm
me
not
into a
asking-
conversation
no, I'm
that I
not-
wasn't
but I
even
didn't
a
ask
part
you to
of,
speak.
that calling me out.
Trustee.
Don't bring me a part of a conversation
I'm
that
stating
I
facts.
didn't ask you to bring me into it.
I'm stating
So
facts.
for the first thing is, what you seem to have a problem with,
I know
is
that.
allowing us to help shape things that happen from this dais. Everybody else can be unplugged and allow for you to lead them astray. But listen, I was elected to lead, and that's why I'm here. We was not brought in properly to ask how we like this, and I did have to work actually. But we were not properly brought in or asked how we would like that whole agenda to be shaped. So you think I was going to take off to something that I had no controls to, shaping the whole process? Oh, this person's been around. She was Iowa Chastity Wells Armstrong. You guys chose the time. No board input was even given, and that's why it didn't happen. No board input was even a part of that whole shaping the whole process, but only one person. And that's not how this government works. And I keep having to remind you all, unless the government has changed, unless something happened while I wasn't watching or something to that effect, this governing body is made up of 6 trustees, 1 mayor. We all were elected to govern collectively. No one person had more power than the other person. We all have our one individual votes, and we were all elected to help shape how policy, how decisions are made, and how this town operates as a whole. And so, again, please don't bring me part in any conversation.
Okay.
All right.
Again, I was just acknowledging the reason why the board retreat got fired. So, with understanding that the board retreat was canceled by the trustees, not by the mayor, because they couldn't attend, or some couldn't attend, because I won't say all couldn't attend. But then after that, trustee, you also canceled your last month's committee meeting of finance. So you canceled the board, you didn't come to the board retreat, got canceled. You acknowledged that you were part of the reason it got canceled. Then you turn around and cancel your finance meeting. At a certain point, the village of Maywood has to continue and go on. So here we are today. You all see the ARPA refunds request. At this point, this conversation was this budget was put together. Again, you definitely can't say without village staff, because the village manager has seen this and added things. The director of finance has seen this and added things. The public works director, the police department, the community engagement, like everybody has added.
Finance chair, you forgot about the finance chair.
Finance chair, when we sat in my office last week and I said, is there anything that you wanted to change before the board packet went live? You said, this is actually everything that I pretty much wanted. Because the board...
Except,
because
I called it out.
You called out the water district, right?
I
Which
called
is
out
why
the
I said,
water
wait a minute,
I also
trustee.
called out, we also put $100,000 here for employees, so we also...
You did not call it out, trustee.
No,
All I'm saying,
because
what I'm saying
Okay.
is, when you saw this, you said, so this is going on the board packet and we're to vote on this on January 9th. I said, yes. The board packet had not gone live at that time.
Okay.
So at that time, I said, is there anything wrong or anything that you see as an issue? The only thing that you said was
That's why I
an
met
issue.
with you. No,
Wait a minute. The only thing that you said was an issue was park and recreation. That's when I said, trustee, we'll vote on park and recreation and get to that point. Guess what? If the vote doesn't go through, that part will be taken off. But is there anything else on here that you see as an issue? You said no in the meeting.
I forgot.
Okay, so say you forgot.
I forgot to bring this.
But say you forgot, but don't sit there and say, I didn't consult with you, I didn't talk with you.
You consult with me
Right,
because
so
you,
trustee,
on Friday...
before the board packet went live,
That's not how it works.
Well, here's the
how
reality.
it works is
Trustee,
you take
you
this to the
received
finance
the board-
committee.
You canceled your meeting.
Finance, okay, well then in January, I canceled it because it's the Christmas, it was Christmas time. I didn't want to go to finance.
I wish I could cancel stuff because it's Christmas
Put
time.
it on hold.
All I'm saying is, at the end of the day, trustee,
Come to the
as we're
finance
looking at the
committee meeting,
budget,
come to the finance
Trustee.
committee. We don't need a special
So
meeting.
here's the
We have a
reality.
process for this.
Here's the
Stop
question.
trying to disrespect me.
trustee,
Okay?
trustee,
It's a finance chair. We're supposed to be involved in this.
you were involved.
No, when? Because on Friday,
The board packet was not live at that time, trustee. You left the meeting saying everything was fine.
Jim, the board packet isn't.
It was not live.
No, it's not about live because you're not supposed to be able to change it after Wednesday. I heard. Now it's Thursday.
So documents
now it's
have to be
Friday.
put in. What I'm saying is this specific board
I thought it
packet.
was done. That's what I'm
Let's
saying.
be clear, trustee. This email went out to you on Monday. You were available to meet on Friday.
Yep.
So the clerk's office did not make the board packet go live until after the meeting with you.
Oh, I didn't know that we could change things. You didn't say that either. You also didn't offer that.
Trustee, I literally sat there with an Excel editable document saying,
You gotta be more
is there
clear,
something,
man. You gotta be
trustee?
more clear.
How clear can I be with saying,
Okay.
is there anything on
Okay,
this
our
list
recommendation-
that you would like to change?
Okay, just to
So here's the
show.
reality.
Would you
No,
mind
like,
doing this to the finance committee?
let's say this, trustee.
Finance
We
committee.
don't all go to the finance committee because that's a committee meeting. We can have this discussion right now because it's open for presentation and discussion.
Okay.
Is there something on this current budget that is an issue?
Yes.
If it is,
Yes.
please state it.
Yes.
What is it, trustee?
The Maywood Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
Okay, that's one. Hold on.
Okay. I'm writing.
Okay. Doc Rivers Family Basketball Court. Dorothy Gators Basketball Court is back out here. The Welcome to Maywood signs, the signage is in really bad shape in certain areas. For new actual street signage going on, this is under aid to tourism, travel, and hospitality. Prairie Pass signage, Underground Railroad signage. Working with, that doesn't mean we have to do it, that means we would look into, connecting with others. So household assistance, Ring doorbell program, senior home repair program, demo, or as far as not knocking them homes down potentially, and then also leaning on, if possible, partnering with the Proviso Township. They have a senior repair program. So one that was important to us was public sector employees. So our employees, police department, fire department, whoever, individuals that were working during COVID, we wanted to, out of these resources, give them a bonus based on the mayor's recommendation for individuals that were here during, during COVID-19. Because the purpose of this is to utilize a response for COVID-19. Mental health services and substance abuse services, we did want to allocate resources there. We just put these names here. If you would like to amend it, that's what I'm saying. You're supposed to come to the finance committee. That is the process. It's not to call special meetings. That's keep this organized so we're not working on two different things. So one thing that we can demand is this broadband one about the village payments online for debit and credit cards. I think that's an area that we can amend because I believe we have that capability already. These are just ideas. Again, we've done this. We did this a long time ago because the discussion that Lanye and I and Trustee Brandon had at the time is that we actually anticipated that you were going to wait to the last minute and then we're going to try to present a budget. So we would have to it'd be this argument about, oh yeah, you got to do this right now. We actually anticipated that, which is why we said we're going to actually obligate, not because and we understand to do a contract. So we were going to obligate, at least high level, we're going to call it out because we're still understanding the grant. We're going to call it out. Half of it, the other half will be for capital equipment, and the next one we're supposed to be working with staff too. So you actually intercepted our staff working with us. Like you intercepted that, and then you decided to present it because you're just that type of guy. But and I'm saying this because I have a voice, and you got to sit through it. Because this is what he was about. No, man, you can't play. So hold on. So also hold on. The transfer for you and other government, we have $150,000 here that's related to the Maywood Park District for support. So what I'm saying is for that administrator, for that transfer, since we were already doing that with game time, this is what we meant. It's going back to the table and saying within ARPA, we've already identified $150,000 for us to go back to the table and say, do you guys need more resources? Because we anticipated that this was actually going to happen. We anticipated that your office might not be able to manage this, and that you might come back to us and change the budget. So that's what we wanted to say. Hey, don't worry about it. We actually have money here aside. So that's when I said high level. Yours wasn't that far off. So you obviously have seen it. Otherwise, we're actually on the same page for the most part. So if we are, then bring it back to if you need to make some amendments, the thing you do is you actually discuss it with your finance chair. Like all those people that you discussed, Jim and Lanye. I chair a committee in which Lanye is our liaison. So don't exclude me, include me in this. We're actually not that far off. And then we can help you with the budget that you actually wanted to present tonight. And you won't have this issue, but I feel like that's why we're having a discussion now. So if we have a special meeting, which I don't even think we need a special meeting, just send what you sent to the board. Just send it to our finance chair. I think it irks your soul to get a recommendation from me. I know, I think it irks your soul. You feel like it's so beneath you to get a recommendation from a committee that I lead.
Trustee,
It has to be.
I literally just wrote down.
Stop trying to attack his character. Get the work done.
Wait, hold on.
Why don't you get
I'm
that
sorry.
crap?
Let me check this audience.
I'm trying
I'm
to
sorry,
figure
this is
out.
our board meeting.
I mean, you're attacking.
This is the
me.
Village
I'm
of
just saying, I
Maywood
mean, no,
board.
because-
This is the Village of Maywood
I
board.
understand, but it's a
All right,
public comment.
so-
And you keep all this
Okay,
garbage going.
Rita.
Nobody understands what you're saying.
This-
And that's crazy. I get blamed for bringing this up.
I'm not making it, I just said, stop making things so personal.
No, it is personal. He personally.
But you're
Guys, can we all call this meeting to order?
You're being
Like
disrespectful.
so serious.
You're
Can
being
we just
disrespectful.
can we just get to making sure that in taking your opinions, I literally wrote everything down that you just
Is it
said.
going to go to the finance committee?
I'm
sir?
asking you, are you
That's-
done? Trustee,
No,
are you done?
my last question for you is
I
are
got
you willing to take your recommendations to the finance committee so it can go to be with the two people on this board that have an accounting background, which is Trustee Sanchez and Trustee Jones, and that you would allow us to vet your ideas and then give you a recommendation? That's my last question. Would you encourage the board to go in that direction versus a special meeting? Because special meetings, we don't have a process for it. We already have a process. This will set me up.
Okay.
Are you okay with that process?
Okay. So to answer your questions, trustee. One, in looking at your recommendations from March of 2023, you said small business economics assistance team up with Maywood Chamber of Commerce. You didn't say write them a check for $250.
No, no,
Because trustee, I
Go ahead.
let you
Go
talk.
ahead. All right, go ahead.
I really let you talk. In the 157-page document that you have before you is information for small business economic assistance. In the presentation, it talks about focusing on an economic empowerment center. It talks about the different calendar of programming. It talks about the city's inclusive entrepreneurship program that we're doing with the National League of Cities. It talks about the National League of Cities addressing fees and fines equitably. It talks about the banking partnerships of 4 different banks. It talks about all of that in regards to economic business assistance. So the $250,000 really is under initiatives and programming, which is $250,000. When you sit there and you say basketball court and signs and new signs, well, trustee, that would fall under the $450,000 under park and recreation. When you say allocate money for the Prairie Path, trustee, we've received a grant for $250,000 for the Prairie Path. So in your budget, it already is there for Prairie Path signage because we got a grant to do it that we don't have to use ARPA money on. When you talk about the Ring doorbell system, the security camera partnership registration program that literally in the email I sent you over a week ago that we met about on Friday to discuss is a program for camera systems that gave reference to like they do in Elmwood Park as the program that is a registration program to businesses and residents to receive money in regards to getting security camera partnership. So it's there already. When you say senior renovations and home renovations, homeowners improvement, it's $150,000 in the budget. For senior home program, you put, and the seniors, you put $250,000 for Ring, there's $50,000 for that. You put senior home program and loans for home repair, there is $150,000 for that. Then you put demo versus sale. Trustee, we received through grant funding, first and second round, for Strong Communities program to do demos, which is why we're already doing demolitions and demo of over $400,000 for this demo versus sale. So again, you have already approved that $400,000. You have already approved that $250,000 for the Prairie Path grant. We already partner with the township in regards to their senior program because they do small home fixes, but they don't do big home fixes, which is why the Homeowners Partner Improvement Program put even more money in it than you asked for. The credit card machine is already done. Here's the part. I didn't do an interception of getting with staff. Your committee has had ARPA for 2 years. Your committee did not do an obligation voting board meeting where you're saying this is what we're voting on to obligate ARPA to. But even in putting this budget together, trustee, there is not a single thing that you just listed that is not in this budget. So before it even needs to go back to your committee, I put back to you, if every single thing you just gave on this list is in this budget proposal, what is it going back to your committee to do when you and Trustee Sanchez are both here? I literally have seen this because it was presented as eligible use. So there's nothing that you just gave that's not in this budget. And here's my other reality.
That's not
when
true.
you say trustee, wait, okay, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, I said, so I didn't check that part. Hold on. So it's two parts. One, easily we can vote to agree to say, hey, instead of 450 to Parks and Recreation, let's do 350 and do the 100,000 that you put for bonuses to employees. That's a conversation. That's something that can be amended. That's simple. But literally, everything you just named is in this budget. The other part, I'm finished. Hold on, I'm done, I'm finished. Here's the part. Yes, it is everything, trustee, when you say 150,000 to transfer for parks, but in the budget is 450,000 for parks. So we don't need to transfer it because we just voted to handle our own parks. And it's in the budget to be handled. So again, the only thing that's missing, which I just said easily we could amend, is saying instead of putting, you said 150,000 towards parks, and here it's $450,000 towards parks, we could easily change it to 350,000 towards the parks and put the 100,000 towards the employees. That is literally, the employees is the only thing that's off in here. And the other part I will say, when you say we had a feeling that you were going to wait for this money doesn't have to be obligated until December of 2024. We are in January of 2024. So please don't leave the narrative of I waited until the last minute to try to obligate funds that don't have to be obligated for another 12 months. Because you said it twice.
I thought you said this had to be done right away.
I'm saying the stuff that we need to do.
That you just said we have to get this done right now, or that's what we're going to call a special
So
meeting.
that's
right?
why my question was.
So my question is, some of this money done right now.
Here's the reality. My question, more specifically, of stuff that needs to get done right now, is the pricing that's on this equipment is quotes that are now. They're not going to be the same if we wait because they only have a 30-day window to them. So these are the quotes that they have for now. So when it comes to the squad cars, when it comes to the diesel towers, when it comes to the messaging boards, when it comes to the bucket truck and the interceptors, that's what the quotes are now.
Where are those quotes at?
That's why they're here.
Where are those quotes?
They're with the department.
No, they need to be a part of your.
So
they
no
need
problem.
to be a part of this.
Add the quotes.
I need to see your quotes.
Trustee,
also.
I applied. Add the
Okay,
quotes.
all right. So let me see
So
it.
here again, so we're very simple. The only thing that is not in this is the employees, which is $100,000.
The Masonic Temple.
So the Masonic, okay, so here we go. The Masonic Temple right now is going through a process with staff with Build Up Cook. With Build Up Cook, they've identified the Masonic Temple 3rd and 4th floor to be restored. So that is a project through ARPA funds that has already been done.
We have that, or
That's
are we
the
applying
project
for
that
it?
they're working through.
Okay, but we're working through it.
But here's the
That's
part.
what I'm
No,
saying.
here's the thing. The grant funding from Cook County for ARPA that was awarded was specifically to 16 communities. We
Right.
specifically are one of the 16 communities.
Okay.
So that specifically is the project that they are working through.
Is the
So
3rd and
that's-
4th floor.
Is the 3rd and 4th floor of the
So
200
we
building.
have sketches about what that's going to look like at the end. Like okay,
There
so
are
what
so
phase
you're
are
right.
we in on that?
There's the 2016 renderings of when they were going to turn it into an office space. There's already been people up there to assess what it will cost. But again,
Is
because
historic
we're not,
preservation already?
because
Are they
we're not.
included in this? Is historic preservation
historic is
included
being
in this?
included in it because Vicki has already said the historic preservation that's in Westchester and their lodge has some digital images and photos and stuff that showcases and highlights what the 3rd and 4th floor used to look like. That is a conversation that I had back with her maybe 8 months ago, trustee.
Okay, I'm just like
So,
recently,
yes.
this recent grant. Because we're going to
But
get money
here's the
here.
reality. When it comes the time to actually say, this is the final design, this is what we're doing, that will be part of the community meetings. We also currently have the $2.5 million that are part of Maintown Downtown. Maintown Downtown also is a part of the 200 building. So that's $2.5 million of discussion to talk about feasibilities, arting, drafts, renderings. That money's already been awarded, trustee. The other part that we're also working through when we focus on local infrastructure hub and focusing on ARPA spending, which you say I need to learn ARPA, when actually I literally, with the National League of Cities, sit on the ARPA committee. They are working through a process with us in regards with Justice 40, which literally says 40% of the infrastructure funds have to go to underserved, disadvantaged communities. So that is already a process happening. So no, the Masonic Temple is not being ignored at all. It's actually going through 3 different processes of conversation.
Okay, I believe specifically, since we're having this conversation now, I believe that the
we could have had it last Friday.
I know, but I like having conversations in public. I don't actually trust to have only just conversations with you because to be honest, I feel like it'll translate the wrong way.
Sure.
I'll say something to you and then you'll make up your own, but we're not the same.
Okay.
I like having these
So trustee, for point of clarity, wait a minute. So for point of clarity,
yes.
Here we are where we are really quick. If everyone, and it's like we're looking for a consensus right now, right?
Yep.
If everyone would be agreeable to changing just the $450,000 of park and recreation to add $100,000 for employee benefits, and then
Employee bonus.
I mean
bonus.
benefits bonus.
Nah, that's a little different. Nah, it's a big difference.
Okay, trustee. To focus on those employees that were here at the time through COVID, $100,000 for employment section of what staff deems that they need to spend $100,000 of ARPA money on based on what COVID was doing. If we're at that point, there's still nothing different in this budget but $100,000. So at the next, when we call the meeting to get this stuff spent, realistically,
Special meeting.
we're going to call, here's the part. Trustee, you don't need to wait 2 more weeks for a finance committee meeting, and then
I'll speed it up.
we're having
speed it up.
Trustee, we're literally having the conversation right now. So then my question comes back to you. If the only thing that we're changing on this budget is $100,000, if we're all agreeable to it, what is it going back to the committee for? Because here's the reality. When we would call a special board meeting, we would find agreeable dates that the special board meeting can have. We would make sure for the bucket trucks and the board signs and all those invoices are attached in a nice little package.
Yes.
And then vote on it. We would be in the meeting for all of 10 minutes if you actually had everybody review what's
the
attached.
chamber, I would like for you to connect with the chamber.
So trustee.
I would like, hold on.
Go ahead.
I would like for you to connect with the Maywood Chamber of Commerce president.
Who's the new president? He just passed away.
I'm sorry. Summer Roberts is who?
I talked to Summer.
Okay.
I have a perfectly fine relationship
Okay,
with Summer.
all right. So I would like to talk to her. I'll actually
Yeah,
want
so at
her
the end of the day, Summer has
I'm
already.
interested.
Trustee,
Hold
here's
on,
the part.
I wasn't finished. You asked me where our discrepancies was. Our discrepancies were so that community initiatives part of it, and you said was the same. It's not quite the same because you don't really clarify what mechanism you're going to use for that resource. It's very vague. You did mention some small business economics. You did have that in the account. So I would like for you to bring that to the Maywood Chamber of Commerce. They would like to be a partner with the Village of Maywood in terms of how we're utilizing anything that's related to small business, anything related to small business economics assistance. They would like to be a partner. Okay. And so I know you said you talked to Summer. I would like that to be ingrained with the community initiatives.
That's fine.
Okay, I'm just
But in transparency, trustee, I've already said this to you when we talked and discussed. We've been doing Elements of a Healthy Maywood since 2022.
Who's we?
The residents, the businesses, you literally screenshotted the partners and community partners that are a part of it. So with Elements of a Healthy Maywood, thank you. With the Elements of a Healthy Maywood, one of the 12 components are economic opportunities. That's how we got to the 4 banks. That's how we got to the Economic Opportunity Center. That's how we got to working with DCEO, Women's Development Corporation, Office of Minority and Economic Opportunity. So as I said to you before, you asked why was the Chamber of Commerce not listed on the meetings. I said they get all the emails, they get the newsletters, they know when the meetings are. If you're asking me to make an even further special pitch of saying, hey, I can personally make a phone call and say, hey, Summer, come to the next business meeting.
No.
Like I can say it to the board, right? So at the end of the day, trustee, this is where the disconnect becomes.
What's up?
You are asking that we halt over a year and a half of work with other business entities for a chamber that has not held a community meeting, that does not focus on economic development, that doesn't even have a program for economic opportunity in the 5 years we've been elected officials. There's not been one single community meeting called. Trustee, tell me what it was. Like, here's the reality. I don't have they invited you to their board meeting. There was not a community public meeting. What I'm saying is, there is no issue to work with the Chamber of Commerce, but we already have one of the 12 components of elements of a healthy community that are multiple businesses. So there is nothing stopping the Chamber of Commerce from coming. There have been board members that have come to the meetings before. They're aware of them. They're in pictures. They're in the newsletter when they come, right? So at the end of the day, there is nothing to stop them from coming to these meetings and having a voice in regards to economic opportunity. But when you're saying go to them, trustee, they don't have an economic opportunity program right now. If a resident or a business calls about business, we send them to the Melrose Park Business Chamber. We don't send them to the Village of Maywood Chamber of Commerce because there isn't a single program that they are doing right now. Even the state funded programs.
That's what the money was supposed to be used for, because we do understand that there's lack of
trustee,
programs.
this is where I have to give you.
That's why I feel the idea was.
Can I chime in?
Hold on, one minute, trustee. Wait, 1 minute, trustee. Can I give me 1 minute?
We've been on this issue for a long
Trustee
time.
Grant, let's do this real quick. I will close by saying in my comments, there is no problem working with the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce have been invited to the meeting that we have on the 18th for small businesses. The Chamber of Commerce have been invited to the Elements of a Healthy Maywood with Economic Opportunity on January 27th. I will extend them another personalized invitation to do both. That's not a problem. But what I'm not interested in doing is halting a year and a half of work that people have done and partnerships that have been made for one entity. But inviting them specially, if that will be pleasing unto you, then that's effortless for me to do. So what I will say is, with that being said, at the end of the day, again, the only thing that we're altering is from $450 for Parks and Recreation to $350, and then we're adding in $100,000.
No, we're actually supposed to be amending this. You're amending the wrong sheet.
Trustee.
You need to be amending this, not what you put together.
Trustee, what I'm saying is you gave this as eligible use. What I'm giving off the list that I read, when I acknowledged your list of this, I acknowledged
okay, so where you
so this is more stuff. There's more stuff on this list, trustee. I acknowledge this entire list.
So what's on your list that's not on mine?
Trustee, look at your board package.
I know we need to walk. We
Look
didn't
at
talk
the
about
email.
That's what I'm saying. We have to
You want me to run through it?
this.
Okay.
Wait,
So real quick. Ali's
One minute.
Point of order. Trustee, you did ask.
Yes, so we haven't even got to the rest of this agenda.
Thank you.
And so that's why more time, and we need to have another meeting.
We don't need more time.
Just to hash this part out, and if we can continue to get through the rest of this agenda. Yeah.
So trustee, so let's just
finance committee
so
meeting
let's just-
for further discussion. I
so-
would like to make a motion that we
Trustee,
table.
I'm not
I'll
asking
second
questions
that.
right now. I'm literally asking a question. No, you
Motion
literally asked.
second.
Stop. Y'all got to stop.
The attorney, there was a motion, there was a
Trustee,
second on the
for
floor.
clarity, he asked to go through the list of what was on our book.
But it's taking up too much time.
It's taking up too much
It's
time.
taking up too much time.
Okay.
You just made a motion.
There's
So
a-
your
there's a
motion,
on the
your
floor.
motion
There's a
is to,
second.
your motion is to table it to go to
Finance committee.
even though you're only changing one thing.
No, I'm taking more than that.
See, again, there is
I mean,
no
I'm trying to
transparency.
reconcile what's not on yours, on mine. We still have
Where is
more
the
to do.
transparency, trustee?
So, okay,
So again, there's a motion to table. Nikki, can you please call the roll?
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez.
Can you please repeat the motion?
He wants the motion to table it to put it towards the finance committee.
So after all of this discussion, we're still gonna go to the finance committee?
so.
Yes, co-chair, the co-chair of the finance committee. Yes, that's what he said. Yes.
He's heard enough. He's the co-chair. He's heard
What is the final question?
No,
There is,
there,
Ain't no
He-
final question.
there is none. I don't know, trustee. We went through the items. We agreed to make the change, so
And no discussion.
he wants clarity.
Yes or no?
Yes
So
or
he
no?
wants, he wants clarity.
I just want clarity what the actual final budget is.
Well, then if you want clarity, trustee, you would have to vote no.
That's not true.
I mean, because then it'll open up the discussion, right? Here's the reality.
So wait,
Yeah,
so
no,
so
no, guys, y'all gotta stop. If he says no, then that opens it up for the discussion for him to ask for clarity, right? That's the reality.
continue to call the roll.
So if he says no, that
And
would
we
give
in
him
the
the
middle of-
opportunity to open it for discussion.
We in the middle of the vote. Let's call the roll.
Trustee.
Let's call the roll.
You gotta vote.
Who died?
So if I vote no, I can open the question for clarity.
If there's enough votes for it not to be tabled.
Yes or no?
Yes or no?
I would like clarity, so I'm gonna vote no.
Trustee Jones,
Aye.
trustee Lightfoot, trustee Peppers, trustee Brandon,
Aye.
Mayor
But I
Booker.
accept it.
No.
Motion carried.
There we go. Okay, move on to the next topic.
I'd just like to say,
Wait.
trustee, I can speak. We're past the motion, right?
We
Right.
passed it.
So here
It's
we
over
are.
with.
So here we are.
No,
Here's the
we
real-
don't.
Trustee,
Are we over with?
trustee,
I guess
we're
not.
over the motion,
Right.
right? We're not over the meeting.
What?
So guess what I need to do,
You have made this so obvious.
right? So here's the reality. Everyone in this audience just saw a whole hour-long dissertation about one change of $100,000 that was agreed to.
Okay.
And here we are, trustee, I really want clarity, right?
Clear.
So here we are, no,
Clarity.
clear trustee. I really need to, the public needs to understand this, right? This is what we do this meeting for,
No,
for
but we move forward
transparency.
from that part.
No,
Allow
because trustee now, because now,
It's time to
trustee.
move forward with the rest of the
No,
agenda.
it's not, because now I have a question. Because my question is now, trustee, are you planning to do an earlier board meeting? Because here's the reality. The funding that is within this has to do with some of the stuff over at the 200 building that we voted to take control of. So the reality is, if you're saying today is Tuesday, you can call a committee meeting of finance as early as Friday. You can call one next week and have a finance committee meeting.
Touch base
So the
with
same,
Maya,
so
and,
the same
we'll
way.
get back to you, basically.
Okay, because I'm like, the reality is, based on how you guys just voted, we do have to tell the organizations and the programming that we have to pause until the board takes direction. That's not a not reality, that's a real thing.
There's ARPA funding next
There's
time.
money tied into it, trustee. You already see the next slide of the screenshot that you gave was in regards to general funds that need to move over. And there's also programming. So, yeah, trustee, it's on the second.
ARPA?
We would have voted on it tonight to approve the ARPA and general fund request that's in the actual ARPA presentation.
Also, you are looking to amend the actual budget.
We would have had to vote to do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, we'll talk about that.
That's what I'm saying, like, that's action. Trustee, it's literally the second page. You screenshot this page and emailed
So,
it to me already.
point of order,
So it's
we're
literally
going
the next
back to
page.
the conversation on this
Again.
matter that was just moved off of.
I got this,
Please,
I
please,
understand
with the
it,
agenda.
I understand that it's tabled, but I want the point of clarity that yes, there were items that need to take place this month if we're actually going to reopen the building this month.
Reach out to me.
So, at the end of the day,
Reach out to me.
you just said you'll reach out to.
I'm gonna reach out to Maya,
Director
but then
Sanchez.
she reach,
I don't-
let's, I mean,
So
let's-
that's the thing that you guys have to do. You
I know,
asked for a committee
just so I can
meeting.
understand.
So
let's-
reach out for the
I'm gonna be in
committee
you.
meeting. Trustee, you already have me on the calendar to talk on Friday,
Okay, I bet.
right?
Yeah, I'm just right, that's what I'm saying.
I don't understand. But I'm literally just saying, we have to do something. Okay, so status report regarding grant agreement with DCEO. Let's be. Status regarding grant agreement for the state of Illinois. DCEO, Opportunity to Rebuild Illinois. So you guys have the staff memo. We really are just, at this point with the DCEO, trying to get the grants dropped, trying to get the funds dropped, to be able to focus on it. We did have some community meetings over this summer. So this is just providing a status report in regards to it. So, yeah, I mean, to receive the money is not much. All right, so, Danny, public comment.
We have
have no further.
All right, 11, under village manager report. Is there anything under the village manager's report that anybody has a question for?
I want to reserve my comment since we will be going to executive session. There's items that the village manager had under his report, but I'll reserve those for executive session.
Okay, so village attorney's report, are there any questions in regards to anything under the village attorney's report? Okay, hearing none. Trustee reports. I need a motion for omnibus agenda. Somebody has to read, Tony's not here.
I'll make a motion to approve 14A through
K.
K.
I need a second.
Second.
Motion to approve.
Wait, excuse me.
Okay, it's still a motion and a second. If there's something you want to pull.
No, I don't want to pull anything. I mean, there was something under the trustee report.
There was an item, but there's no presentation for it. We have the item. It's the water ambassador,
Right,
but
so-
there's no report to give. It's just an item of information, which is right here is item of information. So motion and second for omnibus. Trustee,
So-
there's a motion and a second for omnibus
Can you
agenda.
please allow for me to address an item that I have put on the agenda? It's on the agenda for me to address.
Can we
So
get to,
kind
okay, so let's
to
go
allow me
omnibus
to
agenda.
address it.
Let's
So
go
I put
omnibus
on the
agenda.
I'm sorry.
Let's finish omnibus agenda because there's a motion and a second. And if you want to go back to talk about your handout.
I
then that's
really
fine.
would, because
That's
it's on
fine.
the agenda to discuss.
Okay, so
Thank you.
can you please read items A through K for omnibus agenda?
A, motion to approve the monthly financial report in the amount of $1,858,659.73. B, motion to approve the warrant list number 200-545, date December 31st, 2023, in the amount of $2,557,032.26. C, motion to approve estimate dated December 12, 2023 from Geno's Heating and Plumbing of Brookfield, Illinois for 2024 emergency sewer repair projects in the amount of $53,840. D, ordinance approving a 90-day extension of a special use permit to complete construction of and commence operations of a daycare center at 1418 Madison Street. E, ordinance authorizing the disposal of surplus personal property owned by the Village of Maywood. F, ordinance authorizing a waiver of the competitive bids process in lieu of solicitation of competitive proposals and authorizing the approval and execution of demolition contract proposal with Lower Big Spirit Wrecking and Excavation, Inc. of Chicago, Illinois to demolish abandoned, dilapidated, and unsafe structures at the 98 Legion Street property, the 1510 Madison Street property, the 1500 South First Avenue property, and the 1201 South Fifth Avenue property located within the Madison Street Fifth Avenue Tax Increment Financing District, and for the appropriation and expenditure of Madison Street Fifth Avenue Tax Incremental Financing District funds to pay for TIF eligible redevelopment costs related to the demolition work. G, an ordinance declaring a conflict with the Cook County paid leave ordinance with respect to paid leave requirements for village employees. H, resolution authorizing and approving the execution of the resignation and severance agreement and release of all claims for Monica Jones and authorizing the payment of severance funds. I, resolution authorizing the approval and execution of a sub-recipient agreement for ARPA, state and local fiscal recovery funds to be entered into between the County of Cook and the Village of Maywood to allocate to the Village of Maywood $500,000 for ARPA funds for the construction of the South Maywood Drive Improvement Project and for the appropriation and expenditure of such funds to pay for the construction of the project. J, resolution approving the agreement between the Village of Maywood and Edward Hancock Engineering Company for furnishing of professional engineering services for the 2024 South Maywood Drive Improvement Project in Maywood, Illinois, and for the appropriation and expenditure of Maywood Street, or Madison Street, Fifth Avenue Tax Incremental Financing District funds, and to pay for the preliminary and design engineering services and construction engineering services related to the project. K, resolution approving and authorizing the execution of resolution authorizing the approval and execution of a grant agreement, fiscal year 2024 agreement 24 between the State of Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity and the Village of Maywood for village participation in the Rebuild Downtowns of Main Street Capital Grant Program. Grant amount $2.252 million. That's it.
Please call roll.
Trustee Williams?
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot?
Aye.
Trustee Peppers?
Aye.
Trustee Brandon?
Aye.
Mayor Booker?
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, so trustee Brandon, you wanted to talk about the water ambassador program?
Sure do, thank you. So around the spring, the spring of 2023, I was challenged and charged by this board to chair the Infrastructure and Sustainability Committee, as well as the co-chair, join my colleague, Trustee Peppers, on the Public Safety Committee. So with a lot of hesitation, I decided to move forward, to take upon the challenge as it relates to identifying resources for our residents as it relates to infrastructure. So this is one of the programs, as you all know, we attend both the National League of Cities Conference every year as well as the Illinois Municipal League Conference. And this particular program was identified at the Illinois Municipal League Conference in the spring of 2023. And this program, which is the Water Ambassador Program, helps provide both educational tools and resources for communities like ours to help educate the residents on the proper use of water, and also provide tools to the municipality, to the Village of Maywood, as it relates to just different ways to help educate the public in utilizing our various platforms that we have within the Village of Maywood. And so this particular program, since we addressed this or communicated the proposal or the idea of joining this organization, which is the ISAWWA, I reached out to the village manager. He said that the Village of Maywood was not a member of this particular organization, and that we should, because it was a best practice. And so, to my board colleagues, I would like for us to move forward with joining this organization is my first request. And my second request is for us to specifically join the Water Ambassador Program. And the program, participating members can access water educational tools as well as content from the ISAWWA website, and then communicate their community to their community through social media, website postings, field inserts, newsletters, tours, community events in schools, and etc. There are 3 levels of completion standards: bronze, silver, or gold. Each is determined based on the frequency and method of communication. Communities that complete the Water Ambassador Program each year receive a Water Ambassador street sign that can be posted at the entrance to their community, and a certificate to be displayed in the community's governing office location. And so, again, there was a lot of hesitation to chair the committee, but I don't sit on anything without being active and engaged and fully involved and invested in whatever it is I'm involved in. And so to my colleagues, this was approved at our committee level. And so we're now bringing this before the board as a program that we would like to participate in and be engaged with to continue to educate the residents on these matters.
Thank you, trustee. So in looking at the Water Ambassador Program, Just for, you were saying the village of Maywood is not a part of it. The ISSAWA is actually what Hancock Engineering is already a part of. We're focusing on our drinking water, so we are in part because we actually are engineers. So it's not that we're trying to say not join the Water Ambassador program. The first step that we did, like you said, through the National League of Cities, was the local infrastructure hub on drinking water. So that was in the presentation where we're working through that local infrastructure hub cohort for drinking water. There's also the next step after you're done with the local infrastructure hub of drinking water, even on the Water Ambassador Program's website, is the Metropolitan Planning Council for the Drinking Water 123, because it's a whole community guide that involves community meetings. I sent you an email in response to all of this stuff, and I asked you for a meeting because there's binders and folders and pamphlets to this stuff that I wanted to go over you with. So it would be great to get to the point of being able to apply to be a water ambassador. There's different standards that have to be met, so that's how you get to the bronze, silver, and gold. But once we go through the standards first of the Metropolitan Planning Council with the Drinking Water 123 guide, that's the community guide, that gets us to the next step of being a bronze standard certified water ambassador, because it's not a person, the water ambassador is the community. So we have to go through the Drinking Water 123 through the Metropolitan Planning Council as a first step to get to start the bronze phase. No different than we did the EV readiness with the Metropolitan Mayor's Office. But looking forward to us getting to that status. But I also look forward to your committee working with the Drinking Water 123 guide, because it involves different community meetings to get to the step of water ambassador.
Okay, Mayor.
All right.
Mayor.
I'm not arguing, I'm just letting you
No,
know.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
But as a chair
Yeah,
for the Infrastructure and Sustainability Committee,
sure.
a committee that you appointed me to lead, I'm asking, because I communicated with both Bill Peter Hansen, and I had communication with the village manager as it relates to this particular program. I'm asking for my board colleagues to, because, and I don't want to get into back and forth regarding this. But again, I went along with being the chair of this committee,
Right.
and I'm fully involved. And if I'm going to be the chair of infrastructure, I'm going to be all involved. And so this particular program, I'm asking for my board colleagues to allow for the village of Maywood, because this is the first time I'm hearing about it, and Bill Peter Hansen was at the meeting when we brought up the program, and there was no mention that he was a member, or the Hancock Engineering was a member of the program.
Well,
But
I'm
I'm
a member of
asking
the
based on
Illinois
the-
American Water Works
So,
Association, which has the program.
Okay, so what I'm asking, based on the feedback that I received from Jim, that it's a best practice that we join the program, that the Village of Maywood become a member of the organization, and I'm asking this for my board colleagues, and that we look at how we can become a member of the Water Ambassador Program. And what I don't want to see is that every time we present something, we're working on this.
All right,
We're working on it.
motion to approve.
So motion to approve this item.
There's no action item on the agenda. This is the problem, guys.
Second.
So wait a minute. It's a discussion, and there is no motion to be approved. It's literally a line item that just says what it is. There
can we
is no
give,
motion. So
I
trust,
guess,
like,
direction?
please,
Yes.
if you will, for one moment. Here's the reality. Trustee, if you listen to what I said,
I heard
the Drinking Water 123
you. You can forward that to
community
me.
guide, sure.
You can-
But that,
you can-
so here's the reality,
You can
trustee.
forward that to me as well.
I got
If
you.
that's the
Trustee,
thing
what
with
I'm saying-
infrastructure,
what I'm
please forward it to
saying
me,
is-
and we will evaluate it.
Right.
Because what I will not,
Trustee.
listen, let me finish.
Trustee,
Let
I'm
me
literally
finish.
trying to explain to you something.
So-
I let you talk, I would really appreciate the same. If it doesn't make sense after I say it, then ask me another question. But if you could just let me answer,
Go
I
ahead.
assure you,
Go ahead, I
okay?
can do that. Go
So
ahead.
here's the part. I'm literally saying the Water Ambassador Program comes with certain standards that the community has to hit before we can apply to be even bronze level. So in order to get to that point, even on the Water Ambassador Program, under the website, it gives you Drinking Water 123. So if you look under the Water Ambassador program, you would download the community guide to drinking water 123. I'll email it to you, but it's right under the Water Ambassador program because that's a step you take first to get to apply for bronze. We are not at a place to apply for bronze yet. So all I was saying was the Metropolitan Planning Council's Drinking Water 123 Community Guide needs to be completed. Then once that's completed, it gets us to the level of even applying to qualify to be a water ambassador. It's not just something we can say, we paid a $100 fee and now we're called a water ambassador. There's community meetings and there's steps that need to go place. That's all I'm saying. That's literally all I'm saying, trustee.
I understand the
You're
program.
asking for a motion, but let's get to say we have successfully completed Metropolitan Drinking Water 123. Let's say these are the standards that we've hit to qualify for bronze. Now we're ready to apply for the bronze level. We're not there yet,
So
trustee. That's all I'm
appreciate
saying.
and I thank you for your opinion in regards to that. So I'm requesting this evening as the chair for the infrastructure.
It's not an action item on the
Well,
board, trustee.
we can give direction to.
But this was, this is why I said, trustee, you said you wanted a presentation. You gave a presentation.
And this is what I feel.
There's
I'm
nothing
gonna
wrong
state
with
this
you
because
doing it,
I knew this was going to come.
There's
It
nothing
doesn't
wrong
matter
with you
what,
doing
it
the
doesn't
first
matter
step to
what
get to the
we
next
put on
step.
the agenda. What in my spirit, what it's telling me is it's going to be hijacked by you. And so, I was trying not to even put that on the diet or to even start to really offer this conversation. But every single corner, return is being hijacked. So again, I'm going to
Trustee, I was, if you could just, again, I'm not trying to hijack anything. I'm literally explaining what we have done, what needs to happen.
and you can forward those things to me as
And I
well.
will
I'm
forward
telling
them to
you
you.
that I
So here's the part, trustee, you're asking for direction.
And
What are the
trying to
standards to get
raise
to gold? No, but what are the standards to get to gold, to bronze? That's not in here. What is the budget to apply to be a water ambassador? That's not in here.
There's no call for it to be a part of this program. And so I knew this was going to happen. I already knew because that's how we
You would get the membership, right?
And
The membership comes with the cost.
So
What's the membership to drink?
there's no membership
Not for the
cost
water
to be a
ambassador.
member, and that is exactly what I'm speaking of. And
Trustee,
I
all
told
I'm
Jim,
saying- okay.
and I emailed the village manager
There's no
this
motion to
program.
be
I specifically emailed the village manager this program.
And he said,
the
and
water
I
ambassador
was in the
program.
email as well.
It
He said
not
we don't
only did I-
qualify yet. That is exactly what he said.
No. That's not what he said.
Okay.
And so you want to be
Trustee,
everybody's spokesperson.
there's nothing
What I'm
on
telling
the
you
agenda.
is,
There's nothing on the agenda to call for a
and not
vote.
what you said. What
There's
was
nothing on the agenda to call for a vote.
We can give a
Is it a consensus for us to want to be a part of something that we already know we are in
We can
phase
give a
to do?
consensus.
Is there a consensus to do that?
Yeah,
We've already completed the local infrastructure.
So
drinking water.
and here you go.
There's already the Metropolitan Planning
Your
Council.
own.
So to get to the third phase, which would be water ambassador, as a consensus, is everybody in favor of getting to water ambassador, which would be the third phase after we do the drinking water 1, 2, 3, per the water ambassador?
So that wasn't what I asked.
Is everybody in favor of being a water ambassador, the Village of Maywood being a water ambassador? Is this something yes? Yes?
Yes.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
okay.
Thank you.
We need to vote to go into executive session for
Appreciate
pending
that.
litigation, appointment, employment, and
Was there
compensation.
board of trustee comments or information? 17?
No.
Attorney, you still get to a comment if you don't have a comment.
Justice waiting.
17.
You have it. You have a comment?
Yeah, I do have a comment.
Praise Mother, the hate on this board is so unreal. Very much hungry to see so much hatred on this board. And so supposed to be working for the citizens.
Ms. Clay, are we not at motion to adjourn? Trustee Jones has a comment,
No, I
and
just
then we
had
need
a
to.
comment.
then we need to
Oh,
go-
okay, executive session.
The
No,
hate on
he
this
has,
board
he
is
has he has a comment, then he wants to go, and then we need to go into
Right, I
executive
was
session.
making a comment.
So the comment to,
My comment is actually to trustee Williams. I'd like to, for the community that you lead
So
to,
everything
look
is
at
recorded.
Jim's recommendation. He had a committee.
Yeah, we're going to
that's all, I mean, that's, you guys do this.
No, I was acting, just, I guess I'm making a comment to say that, because there's actually an issue of us talking since we're on the same committee outside of the meeting. That's actually what Attorney Brooks said.
Correct.
Correct. So that's why I had to make a comment now, otherwise I can't. So actually, all chair people, we're kind of limited in that regard, Mayor. But I wanted to point out that Jim had put a recommendation in terms of like process flow for how committees are supposed to structure as well as just how things are supposed to work, including I think the mayor's office as well. I just wanted to make sure.
So trustee, I reviewed the recommendations and we'll bring that up at the policy and ordinance meeting at the end of the month.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Motion to go into closed meeting session.
For pending litigation and appointment and employment and compensation.
Yes, sir.
Second.
Motion to approve by trustee Brandon, seconded by trustee Williams. Please call the roll.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez. Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot. Trustee Peppers.
Aye.
Trustee Brandon.
Aye.
Mayor Booker.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Everyone have a nice night.
Good evening, everyone.
Because we love the person.